everyone, welcome back. I hope you're strong and feeling covered today. I wanted to start with an update from my last video on the conclusion of my 24-hour dry fast. To start, I absolutely loved it. I've done a 7-day water fast as well as a 3-day water fast before where I only drink water and nothing else, but the last and only time I ever tried to do a dry fast was when I was trying to do a 3-day, 72-hour dry fast specifically to combat spiritual warfare. But after 36 hours into my dry fast, which was exactly a day and a half, I couldn't go any longer. I just knew I couldn't go any longer physically. I was like collapsing. But this 24-hour dry fast, which really turned into a 30 to 36 hour total, was just right. I'm telling you, the Bible put us on to health remedies long before the healthcare industry did. Fasting is the ultimate super treatment for the body because of the cell turnover. Fasting detoxes and repairs damaged cells in the body. And for those of you who have never tried it, fasting cleanses you better than any laxative or stimulant tea ever could. I'm just saying. I also mentioned that I was in deep prayer during my fast and specifically asking for wisdom and direction, particularly on what God wants me to share with you all through my messages. And I noticed as I started praying, the enemy, who will deter you from praying, by the way, started afflicting me with its most common tactic when it comes to me, which is an overactive bladder, which I've never suffered from before until spiritual warfare started. I was experiencing a rushed bladder like nothing I've ever experienced before. I felt like I was holding on to Niagara Falls, but when I'd get to the bathroom, there was nothing going on. Either that would happen where I didn't even need to pee when I got to the bathroom, or I would need to pee so bad I couldn't even stand up and I had to like wait and hold it. And I know this would be TMI to any other audience, but if you've actually experienced spiritual warfare, this is a common affliction and tactic of spiritualists and witchcraft during spiritual warfare. This is like a common symptom. They try to make you pee on yourself and they make your pee smell abnormal. Like it doesn't smell normal at all. Mind you, this was happening during my 24-hour dry fast where I didn't have a sip of water or a bite of anything. But when I heard God tell me I was onto something, like I was getting closer, that's when I would get afflicted and the overactive rushed bladder would hit me. God was telling me that the enemy heightens his attacks during this fasting and spiritual warfare episode of getting this rushed bladder experience. God was telling me that when the enemy heightens his attacks, it's because you're too close to uncovering something. It's because you're too close to a breakthrough. So he tries to distract you or physically stop you with a headache or chest pain or constantly rushed bladder or even a person to distract you. So if you ever feel like you're close to accomplishing something or figuring something out and all of a sudden you start getting distracted or constantly interrupted by something, please power through and rebuke the enemy's attempt to distract you. This distraction can come in any form. This distraction also comes when it's time for you to pray and have deep communion with the Lord. To not only upload your thoughts, worries, and desires, this distraction also comes when it's time for you to pray and have deep communion with the Lord. Because the enemy's distraction comes to block you from having a connection with God, a connection that will heal and bless you. A divine connection that God will use to speak to you. That's what they're trying to block. And the enemy will use more than just an overactive bladder, a headache, or a person to distract you. They'll even try to use past memories, painful memories, anything that distracts you in a negative way. The enemy will just randomly have you start remembering things from your past that might be painful or hurtful just to distract you. Things that don't matter, things that are no more. And the enemy wants to block you from praying for multiple reasons. It's not only to stop you from uploading your thoughts and your worries and your desires to the Lord, but also keep you from downloading and receiving your instructions and guidance from God. So please always pray when you're ready to pray and power through your purpose when you're in the zone, even when you sometimes get distracted, because the enemy knows when you're getting closer and will afflict you with constant constant and pesky distractions, and I needed to make you all aware and alert of this. So that was one of the revelations and messages I got during my fast. I also wanted to mention that I know we're supposed to fast privately, and I typically do. I wouldn't typically tell anyone that I was fasting, but part of my message is to share my experience and encourage you all to give it a try if your health permits. I'm sure that even a 12-hour fast or water fast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., like from sunup to sundown, would give you an effect that you would benefit from both physically, mentally, and spiritually. The mental clarity I experienced was also divine. But yeah, I know that I do typically fast privately. I know we're not supposed to be so public about it, but in my message, I'm trying to encourage you all by sharing my experience with it and try to encourage you all or motivate you to give it a try. So now that the update and results for my 24-hour dry fast is checked off the agenda, I needed to talk to you all about some of the additional reasons for your spiritual warfare. Just like a dry fast, while spiritual warfare feels hard, the benefits is that it truly does clean house. And while you may only have one or two primary members of your family or circle actively participating in the voodoo or witchcraft against you, all the other members of your circle and family that your warfare exposes is also intentional. When God says all things are working together for your good, He gets into all the crevices and corners. This is a very clear message for those of you reflecting on your spiritual warfare and not only taking note of the specific enemy in your life who's been commissioning satanic spiritualists to afflict you, but also taking note of all the people who didn't come to your aid, people that you thought would offer you a helping hand when you asked, but instead gave you the cold shoulder, said no, and wouldn't help you even when you've helped them several times. God wants you to know that He needed you to see this. He needed you to see the true selfishness, heartless, evil side of them that you never thought was there. He wants you to see who doesn't really care about you. He wants you to see that they're not truly good and caring. And this is all part of how God is using spiritual warfare to work for your good. So don't be upset. Be grateful, because this exposure of their true heart and selfishness is also to prepare and position you when God elevates you. You are so fortunate that God is handling things in the order that He is throughout your spiritual warfare, because these are people that you would have kept around when God elevates you. These are people you would have shared your blessings with. And not only would they have never done the same for you, which you fortunately get to witness in advance of your blessing, but they will only deplete, corrupt, and try to destroy you once you've been elevated, because they're envious and evil. So God is separating you now by letting you see their true hearts and spirits towards you. Now that you're about to be elevated in the divine order that your spiritual warfare has taken place, you now know who's who. And the people who left you high and dry when you were down and out, the people who shamed you, crossed you, played you, bad-mouthed you when they thought you were nothing, these would have been the first people you shared your blessings with. Matthew 10:36 states, "A man's enemies will be members of his own house." The people in your circle, those close to you. And while you may have been shocked during the discovery phase of your spiritual warfare, as you got to see how far and wide and evil the jealousy went throughout your circle of friends and family, please don't be shocked if they still try to reach out to you once you've been elevated. They should know better, but they should have known better to begin with too. And don't be surprised if just as your conditions are rising, theirs are plummeting. Not that we're supposed to hope for their downfall when it comes to justice, we just give it up to God. But this is part of how God uses spiritual warfare for our good, by exposing all those who are not truly with us. This is how God proves He is truly the ultimate source of all power, far, far above and beyond any voodoo or witchcraft, that God is truly Alpha and Omega, how He can use anything and turn any evil around to serve His will. He already told us through the words of Joseph in Genesis 50:20, "You intend to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." That's what Joseph said to his brothers, the ones that betrayed him. And God already told us this in Romans 8:28, when He said, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose." And while your enemies will know better than to come to you asking for anything after how they've treated you, the truth is, chances are many of them will still reach out to you for aid or support. But God is letting you know now who to leave far, far behind. If you found my message and sharing my experience helpful, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and tap the like button to help me reach more people in need of this message. I upload daily, sometimes multiple times a day, so feel free to stay tuned. Also, don't forget to check out my playlist on my spiritual warfare experience, my 4-part chronicle on my experience in spiritual warfare that led to me creating this channel. That's my message for today. I'll have a fresh one up for you all tomorrow. In the meantime, keep your heads up, stay prayed up. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.